are in the home stretch here. We're going to get started on our border. This is my sleeve. I've gone ahead and turned my project so that the seams are all on the inside now. So this is my right side of my project facing out. All my seams are showing on the inside where I'm going to be wearing it. So you're going to pick any spot on, in this case, I'm doing the sleeve right now with you guys. The main thing I want to point out is when you are doing this particular border, you have to do adjustments based on the size of the sleeve you made or the size of the cardigan that you made, so that you end up with these chain 3s that I'm about to show you to do in multiples of 3. So we're going to be doing chain 3 single crochet all the way around, but we need those to work out so that we have 3 sets of chain 3 per portion of the border. And I'll show you right here. In order to make this right here happen, we need 3 of our chain 3 spaces. So right here is 1, 2, and 3. So those are our chain 3 spaces. So for each one of these fans that we're creating, we're going to need to have the 3 chain 3 spaces. So you may not have to adjust too much, but you might find that you're going to have to place these not exactly where I have them. If I pull this apart, you can see that my single crochet landed right here in between the puff. And then I have another single crochet over here. We want to make sure that when we're doing this and setting this up, we just want to make sure that we end up with the right count on these chain 3 spaces so that this works out. So we're going to get started, but just keep in mind, you may have to do your single crochet placement just a little bit different. That part is not important. You're not going to be able to tell that you've placed it in a different spot than I have. You're going to be able to tell if you don't end up with enough chain 3 spaces to finish out a particular fan. That is what we're going to have to avoid. So as you get around your sleeve or your cardigan, if you find that you are having not enough room to complete a set of chain 3s, then you might want to back up a little bit and space them a little closer together with your single crochets. Like place your single crochet, instead of placing it here, place it here. And then you can do another chain 3 and place a single crochet here. So you might end up needing to put them a little closer together towards the end of a particular section, like if you're gone all the way around the cardigan, all the way around the bottom edge and all the way around the collar and the front panels. If you need to kind of squeeze a few more in, you can back up a little bit and do that. And it's not going to make a huge difference. You're not going to be able to tell. We just want to make sure we set it up correctly so that this all works out and we have these really pretty fans. So we're going to go ahead and get started over here on my other sleeve. Like I said, just pick any spot in your sleeve, and I'm going to show you on this, and then you'll continue to go all the way around your project doing this on your bottom edge. If you want to lengthen anything, if you need your front panel to be slightly wider, this particular border stitch is wide. So, I mean, we've got, you know, over an inch. It's probably an inch and a half here that it's adding to the length. If we need to increase that at all, and we'll go ahead and measure real quick. If we need more, let's say your panel just, you feel like you need a little more coverage, like if you are bigger breasted. Well, I guess at our peak, it's more like 2 inches. So I'm measuring right here from the base of my original project, so the original sleeve, the edge of it's right there, and measuring up to the peak of this little fan stitch, we're right at 2 inches. So this is adding 2 inches. But let's say you need it to be more like 2.5 or 2.25. You can add a border of double crochet before you get started on your chain 3 spaces to lay out the foundation work. So keep that in mind. That's something you can do if you want it longer on the bottom edge. You know, it's not covering enough of your hips or whatever you're trying to cover. then, or you like it to hit a little bit lower, then just go ahead and do a double crochet border and then just skip over doing your chain 3 spaces, and you will find that it's going to lengthen that up quite a bit for you. So I'm just picking a spot to go in, and again, this is the right side of the project. I've got all my seams. See my seam right here? I've got my seams on the inside now. So I'm coming right here at this seam, and I'm just going to insert right here before it, just underneath that chain work. So I'm just going right here, and I'm going to, I have a slip knot already on my yarn. I've got it in a slip knot, so I'm going to slip it onto my yarn, or my yarn onto my hook, and I'm going to grab, and I'm just going to pull up a loop. And now I'm going to grab my working yarn, and I like to grab the tail as well to kind of lock it in place. So I'm grabbing that, doing a yarn over, and I'm going to pull it on through that loop that I pulled up, doing a chain. So I've got chain 1 right there. And now I'm going to go right back down in that same exact space, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull up a loop again. I'm going to let my tail fall to the back now, best as I can anyway. And I'm going to grab my working yarn right here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull through both of those loops, doing a single crochet. So I'm just doing my first single crochet right there. Now I'm going to loosely chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm just going to come over here, and right here, this is in between a couple of the 2 double crochets. I'm just going to come right in there in between them, pull up a loop, grab my yarn and pull through 2, doing a single crochet. So now I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3. And remember, we need to keep these in sets of 3s on our chain 3s. So right here is my first chain 3. This is my second I'm about to complete. I'm just going to come over here in between those 2 puff stitches. So I've inserted my yarn, or inserted my hook. I'm grabbing my yarn, pulling up a loop. I'm grabbing my yarn and pulling through 2, doing a single crochet. And now I'm going to do that one more time, because we've got to do these in sets of 3. So I've chained 3. And I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to go right here. Right after that puff, I'm just going to hop right in there and do another single crochet. So that is my first set, my very, very first set of 3 chain 3 loops. I'm going to continue on around the project in the same way, making sure that I end up doing sets of 3. I want to end with a set of 3 coming back around to this. And we'll meet back up when you get around here to this side, and we will finish up, complete that together. So that I can show you how to move on up to what's going to be row 2 of this border. So I've just done another chain 3. This is my first one for this set. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go in between these 2 double crochets and do a single crochet. And now I'm going to chain 3 again. This is my second for this set. I'm going to jump over here in between those 2 puffs. So we're just going to keep doing that all the way around in sets of 3s. So 3 chain 3 sets with a single crochet to anchor them down. Just any little placement will do. You don't have to be very specific. The count is more important than anything. So just, you can space them out however will work best for your project. You can go ahead and kind of pre-count those out if you'd like, and say, and figure out where you would want to place those to get the perfect number. I personally choose to wing it every single time. That's how I do these. So we're going to go ahead, finish up doing 3 chain 3 sets, or sets of chain 3s in multiples of 3. And we're going to meet back up right around here where we did our very first one, and we'll finish off together. All right, so I'm back around here. This is my first one. 1, 2, this is about to be my third chain 3 for the set. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to chain 1, and then I'm going to wrap my yarn, and I'm going to go right here to that single crochet that I made when I started out this row. And let me kind of pull that tail all the way so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to wrap my yarn. I'm about to do a double crochet so that I end up at the highest point. So I'm right here. That's a single crochet right there. wrap my yarn around my hook. I'm going to insert into the top of that single crochet. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull up a loop. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull through 2. And I'm going to grab my yarn and pull through 2. So now this is my last chain 3 loop essentially. And I'm up here at a high point. So I'm just going to be able to do a chain 1. And I'm going to go back down here and I'm going to go into that chain 3 loop, or what's our chain 1 double crochet, and I'm going to pull up a loop and I'm going to pull through 2 and do a single crochet right there. And now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to come over here into this chain 3 loop right here. And I'm going to go into that second chain. So you want to kind of keep this nice and tight. Let's get that tail all the way again. It's being very bothersome. Hang on one second. I'm grab and pull it through on this side so it's hanging out on the back side rather than in our way constantly. So I've got a chain 3 right here. And I'm going to look at this loop and I can see 1, 2, 3 chains. I'm going to go into that second one, the one right there in the center. I'm going to do a single crochet. Just like that. And now I'm going to do a total of 8 double crochets in the very next chain 3 loop. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook. I'm going to go just directly into that chain 3 and work right around that chain. So I'm going right around it. I'm going to grab my yarn, pulling up a loop. I'm going to grab my yarn, pull through 2, grab my yarn, pull through 2, and that's my first double crochet. So I'm going to repeat that a total of 8 times in here, or for me I'm going to repeat it 7 more times, but we're going to end up with 8 double crochets worked right here into this chain 3 loop. So I've got 2. Now I'm going to do number 3, just working right around the chain 3 that we have. So there's number 3. Now I'm going to do number 4 and number 5, and I'm going to pull out some more yarn. Got my yarn in an odd position, I guess. Let me put that over there out of the way. So I've got 5. Now I'm going to do number 6 and 7, and last but not least I'm going to do number 8. Now I'm going to go back and check my count. So I'm going to have to kind of scoot this so I can see and not accidentally count this as a double crochet. That's my chain 1 spot. So, or I'm sorry, that's my single crochet spot, and that's a chain 3 down here. So we're going to go like this and separate that. And now I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 double crochets. So now I'm just going to come right down here into this next chain 3. And I'm just going to do a single crochet to lock that down. Now is where it gets interesting. I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to turn my work already. And I'm going to go right back down here. I'm going to actually create that whole fan right now. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook. And you can kind of stick your pinky in there, kind of pull that out so you can see what you're doing. I'm going to start working in a kind of cluster manner. 2 double crochets together. So I've got that chain 4 right there. I'm going to go right here into my first double crochet. I've got my yarn wrapped around my hook. I'm going to insert into the top of that double crochet. And I'm going to grab my yarn and pull up a loop. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it. Now I'm going to go over here, and in this very next double crochet, I'm going to do the same thing. So right here I've worked into this one. Now I'm going to work into the very next one. I'm going to wrap my yarn, pull up a loop, pull through 2. I'm going to hold it. I've got 3 loops on my hook, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my yarn, pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cluster the next 2 double crochets in this section together. So I've worked into this one. You can see right there your loops coming out of it. So we're going to go right here to the next one. Insert our hook. We've had our yarn wrapped around our hook. We're going to insert right here into the very next stitch. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through 2, and we're going to hold it. We've got 2 loops right here on our hook. Now I'm going to wrap again. I'm going to go right here into the very next stitch, and I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it. I've got 3 loops up here on my hook, so I'm going to grab my yarn and pull through all 3 of those loops. Now I'm going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And we do this a total of 4 times. So we're going to work the same way into the next 2 double crochets from the previous row. So we're going to make sure you can kind of stretch it out. Make sure that you're going into the very next one. We've had our yarn wrapped around our hook. We're going to insert into the top of that stitch. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull through 2. And we're going to hold it. 2 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap our yarn again. And go back down here in the very next double crochet. I'm going to grab our yarn and pull through 2. Got 3 loops on our hook. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull through all 3 loops. And we do that, I forgot to mention, by turning our hook. Normally when we're working, if you look right there, your hook is kind of in this position most of the time. When you go to pull through, you're just going to turn it down like that where it's facing your project to pull through. So we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. Just like so. In my case, I'm going to have to pull out some more yarn. 1 second. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. So now if you kind of stick your finger in there to separate, got 2 stitches left to work into. Wrap our yarn around our hook. We're going to go right here into the very next double crochet, insert our hook, pull up a loop, grab our yarn again, pull through 2. Hold it with 2 loops on your hook. Wrap your yarn again and go right here in this very last double crochet. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, hold it, 3 loops on our hook, wrap your yarn, turn your hook down towards your project. Oops. Sorry, let's do that again. We've got chain 3 right here on our hook. Wrap our yarn, go into the very next double crochet, insert, pull up a loop, grab our yarn and pull through 2 loops. It's getting a little hard for you guys to see that, I can tell. Kind of stretch that. Wrap our yarn again, go here into the very last double crochet, insert, pull up a loop, pull through 2, 3 loops on our hook, grab your yarn, turn your hook down towards your project, and pull through all 3 of those loops. Now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And we're going to go down here into this chain 3 space that we made when we started this row. We're going to go into that center one. So count 1, 2. Go here in the center, insert. We don't have anything wrapped. We're doing a single crochet here. So we're going to grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2. And so that's what we have so far. Now we're going to chain 1. And we're going to turn our work again. So now we're going to do a single crochet right here. We're going to go right here into this chain 2 space that we just created. Got my chain 1 on my hook over here. I chained 1 and I turned. And I'm going to go right there into that chain 2 space and do 2 single crochets right there around that space. So just right there around it. Now I'm going to jump over here into that chain 3 space we created, and I'm going to do another single crochet, just like that. Now I'm going to do in the same chain 3 space, I'm going to do a half double crochet, 2 double crochets, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. So I've got my yarn wrapped around my hook. I'm going to go right back here into the same space. I'm going to grab my yarn and pull up a loop. I'm going to grab my yarn. I've got 3 loops there on my hook. I'm going to pull through all 3 of those to do a half double crochet, just like so. Now I'm going to wrap my yarn again. Now I'm going to do 2 double crochets right here on the same chain 2 space. There's my first double crochet. And here is my second, going right here in that same exact space. So now I've done my 2 double crochets. I need to do a half double crochet again. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook, coming right back down the same exact space, grabbing a loop and pulling it up. 3 loops on my hook. Grab and pull through all 3 of those loops. Now we're going to do a single crochet to end this off right there in that same space. Do our single crochet. So now we've just completed that little fan right there. So now we're going to jump over here into the very next chain 3 space, and we're going to repeat that. We're going to do a single crochet, so we're going to go work right here around that chain, and we're going to do a single crochet, and then we are going to do a half double crochet. Then we will be doing 2 double crochets, another half double crochet, and a single crochet, all right there in that same exact space. So we're going to keep doing that. We're going to do it a total of 3 times. So I've done it once here, we're going to do it once here, and then we're going to finish off doing it right here. So we've got a single crochet done. So now we're going to wrap our yarn, go around that space and do a half double. So we're pulling up a loop, and then we're going to grab our yarn, pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to do right here in the same exact space, 2 double crochets. There's my first one. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do my second. Okay, so we've got 2 of those now. And now we need to do our half double crochet again. So we're wrapping our yarn around our hook, going back down here into this space, pulling up a loop. We've got 3 loops right there on the hook. Grab and pull through all 3 of those loops. Now the last thing we need to do is our single crochet right here to end this off. And that just anchors all that down and keeps it in that pretty little fan shape. So now we're going to jump over here to our last one. And go right over here into this next chain 3 space, and we're going to do our single crochet. So we're going to do that. Now we're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to go back into the same exact space, and we're going to do our half double crochet. So we're going to pull up our loop. We got 3 loops. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets right here into the same exact space. So there's number 1. Here's number 2. Okay. And now we're going to wrap and do a half double crochet right here in this space. So we're pulling up our loop, grabbing our yarn, pulling through all 3 of those. And now I'm going right back down in to end this out and do a single crochet right there into that space. So now we're going to jump over here. We're now back at the chain 4 that we started out with when we started this row, this previous row. So we're here at this chain 4, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go right there around the chain 4 and do a single crochet. And then we're going to go directly into that next chain. We're going to work into that chain, and we are going to do another single crochet. So we're in that second chain down. And as you can see, you got 2 more chains left down here. Now we're going to chain 1, just like that. And we're going to come down here to this next chain 3 space. So we're skipping over this. If you look, we've worked in there already. Hopefully you guys can see that real good. We're going to come right here into this next chain 3 space, and we're going to work in the center stitch and do a single crochet. Sorry, I had to kind of turn the project in my lap. So I've got a chain 1 on my hook. I'm going to come right here into the 3rd stitch. So here's 1, here's 2. I'm sorry, I'm coming into the center stitch. Second one of the 3. I'm going to go right there into that stitch, and I am going to do a single crochet. Now this is complete. I've finished this first fan section, and now I'm going to start my next one basically. So I'm going to start just like we did before. I've got a single crochet already done. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm not doing it super tight. And I'm going to come over here to this next chain 3 space, and I want to work into that second stitch. So there's the first one, I'm skipping that one, going right into the second one. And I'm doing a single crochet right there. Now I'm going to wrap my yarn, and I'm going to go here into the next chain 3 space. I'm going to do my 8 double crochets again. So there's my first one. Here's my second one, working right around that chain 3. Nothing special. There's number 2. Here is number 3. Here is number 4. Here is number 5. Here is number 6. Number 7. And number 8. And then I'm going to stop, and I'm going to count that and make sure that I've got all 8 double crochets in there. So I'm going to make sure that I'm sticking a finger over here, separating that out somehow, because I don't want to accidentally count this right here as a double crochet. So right here, this one is my very first one. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is going to be just a repeat of what we just did. This is how you work this border and create this cluster, this fan stitch with clusters. It's pretty simple to do. And I'm going to go ahead and do just like we did before. We've got our 8 double crochets right here. So I'm going to see, I'm right here into this one, into this chain 3 space. Right here is my very next one. I'm going to go into the second stitch, the center of that chain 3. So I'm going to skip 1, go right there in the center and do a single crochet to anchor that down. Now I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to need to turn our work at this point. And I'm going to pull out a little bit more yarn for myself. And get ready to do this with you guys one more time. And then you'll be able to, I'll put the rewind for this border on screen so that you can rewind and start over. And if you need to watch it again, and you're going to do this over and over and over until you have done this border all the way around all of your edges. So I'm going to wrap my yarn, and I'm going to start doing that cluster stitch that we did before. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around my hook. I'm going to go right here into this very first double crochet, and I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to pull up a loop. Let me pull that kind of back for you guys. I'm going to grab my yarn, and I'm going to pull through 2 loops. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn again. I'm going to move into the next double crochet, very next one. Insert my hook, pulling up a loop. Grab my yarn, pull through 2, 3 loops on my hook. So now I can go ahead and grab my yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go down here into the very next double crochet and repeat that 3 more times basically. So I'm going to wrap, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and I'm going to hold it. I'm going to wrap my yarn, go into the very next double crochet, insert my hook, grabbing a loop, pull it up, grab again, grabbing my yarn again, pulling through 2 loops, 3 loops on my hook, grab and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. This is the 3rd time I'm going to repeat this. Remember, you're always going to have 4 of these little clusters. So I'm going to go here. You can kind of stretch out your work if you need to so you can see your next stitch. We've worked into this one. So here's our very next one right here. Got our yarn wrapped around our hook. We're going to go here into this next stitch, pulling up a loop, grabbing our yarn and pulling through 2. We're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to go right here into the next stitch and insert our hook. We're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop, grab our yarn and pull through 2. Got 3 loops on our hook. Going to grab our yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go right back down here into this very next stitch, and we're going to do this one last time. Grab and pull up a loop, grab and pull through 2 loops on our hook. We're going to hold it, wrap again, go into this very last double crochet, pulling up a loop, grab our yarn, pull through 2, grab our yarn and pull through all 3 loops. And that's what you have right there. Now we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. And we're going to go right here into this chain 3 space. We're going to skip the first chain and go right there into the second. We're going to insert our hook. We're going to grab our yarn and do a single crochet. So we're pulling up a loop and doing a single crochet right there. Now we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets right there on that chain 2 space that we just created. So there's my first one. Here is my second one. Now we're going to skip over that cluster and we're going to go right here in that chain 3 space and do a single crochet. Next, we're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to do a half double crochet right here into that chain 3 space. So we're going to grab and pull up a loop. We're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 3 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to do 2 double crochets now. So next we're doing our 2 double crochets. I'm going to move all that out of the way. So we're going to wrap our yarn around our hook. Go right there in that chain 3 space, pulling up a loop. Grab our yarn and pull through 2. Grab our yarn and pull through 2. It's our first double crochet. Now we're going to go and do a second one right there working around that chain 3. Here's number 2. Now we're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to do a half double crochet. So we're pulling up our loop. We're going to pull through all 3 loops that are on our hook. Now we're going to go back down in one more time and do a single crochet. And we end up with that cute little fan. Now we're going to go over here to this next chain 3 space. We're going to go ahead and do a single crochet, jumping right over there to that with a single crochet. Now we're going to do a half double crochet. So we wrap our yarn around our hook, go around that chain 3 space and pull up a loop. Grab our yarn and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets right there around that chain 3 space. So there's number 1. And here is number 2. Now we're going to do a half double crochet. So we're wrapping our yarn around our hook, going back down in that same exact space, pulling up a loop, grabbing our yarn and pulling through all 3 loops. Now we're going to go back down in that same exact space, and we're going to grab our yarn, pull up a loop, and do a single crochet. Pull through both of those loops. Now we're going to go right here into this very next chain 3 space and do a single crochet. And we're going to do a half double crochet right there in that same space, just like we've been doing. We're going to do 2 double crochets into the same space. So there's my first double crochet, and here is my second right there. And now I'm going to do another half double crochet right down here into that space. Go right in there. 3 loops, grab and pull through all 3. Now we're going to go right back down in there and do a single crochet. So now we've got 3 of those little fans right here, and we're going to go right over here. This is now at the beginning of our previous row where we had that chain 4 space. Right there at that, we're going to go over there into that chain 4 space, and we're going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to go right there into the very next stitch. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, so third one up if you want to count. We're going to go into that and do a single crochet right there, and that kind of anchors that down. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go down here into this next chain 3 space. We're going to count 1, 2, and end up in the center of that, and we're going to do a single crochet. And that is the end of the repeat. So from there, you're going to be doing a chain 3 again. You're going to chain 3. Then you're going to come over into this next space and do a single crochet right there in the center of the chain. You always want to go into that second one. You want to keep it anchoring so that everything stays. You don't want stitches to slide around too much. You want to keep it so it spreads them out appropriately and they look correct. So you want to work in the same exact manner, doing the same thing all the way around. You will meet back up with me. You will be finishing off over here, and we'll do that together just to show you how to finish this off. But if you kept your counts right and did your multiples of 3 sets of the chain 3s, you are going to work out perfectly. You'll have all these pretty fans. And then from there, you can just go ahead and start working. I recommend starting at the corner. You can start at like the bottom corner, work your way all the way around the bottom, and then go up the inside edge of the cardigan around the collar and on back down, and you'll then meet back up where you started. So you'll be able to do your foundation work of your chain 3s and sets of 3s. You'll be able to do that, and then you will turn around and be able to start working these fans. And the good thing about it is it's not row after row after row in some ways. You're going to finish each one out, and then you'll move on to the next. So when you finish this, you are finished, and you'll be able to bind off, tie in your ends, and have a really beautiful cardigan to wear. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Please like, please subscribe, please comment below if you have any questions at all. Like I said though, we're going to go ahead and finish on around your sleeve that you're working on, and we'll meet back up. I'll show you how to finish this off, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back for our last and final time together. Make absolutely sure when you're finishing your sleeve that you go back and you count how many chain 3 spaces you started out with when you were laying your foundation for this work, because you want to make sure that on your other sleeve you mirror that count. You want to make sure that if you end up like with, in my case, there's 7 of these little clusters, you want to make sure that you have 7 clusters on the edge of the other sleeve. Obviously, you won't be mirroring anything when you do all the way around the outer edge, you know, the bottom edge and the collar and inner edge of your cardigan. But for the sleeves, that count does matter. So make sure, and I will put that on screen further up, make sure that you go back and you count how many chain 3 spaces you started out with so that you can do the exact same thing on your other sleeve. But I've just finished up this repeat right here. So I finished up this entire little thing, all the way done, ready to move on, and we're at the end. So I've just done my chain 2, or I'm sorry, chain 1, and done the single crochet right here in this next chain 3 loop. So all we need to do to finish out is chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to be coming right over here to this little spot. It is our original single crochet that we started with. We're going to go right in there and insert our hook and pull through a loop and pull through the loop that's on our hook and slip stitch that together. So to finish out, that's all you're going to need to do. Then from there you can go ahead and bind off. I like to chain up 2 and then clip my yarn and pull this on through and cinch it down. That's how I particularly, that's my preference. But if you want to just sew in the ends, whatever you prefer, that is fine. But that is the end. So you're going to now just continue on around doing the same setup of the chain 3 foundation in sets of 3 all the way around the bottom edge and inner edge of your cardigan. And then you will go through, work each of your little clusters, and when you are finished, you will have a beautiful piece to wear. So thank you again for watching this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up. Like I said before, make sure that you're subscribed. I have several more things coming in the very near future that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching as always. Until next time, bye.